Can you guys hear me now? Heather, are you still there? I see they have green bars now. But I would like to know from my subscribers, Heather, I love you, girl. You've been with me for a while now. Is there something, Heather, that I can do better on my lives and in my videos? Because I went from having almost 100 people watching my lives. Now I'm down to 8. And I had good views on my videos, and now my views are tanking. Is there something that I, as a content creator, can do better to keep you guys more engaged watching my content and watching my lives? I'm just wondering, because I love what I do here in the YouTube community. Sorry, it was this that was messing up. That's why you guys couldn't hear me earlier. But yeah, I'm a good man. I am. Proud daddy of a beautiful 9-year-old little girl. She's asleep now, thank God. But yeah, I have some awesome people I look up to. I have some awesome friends. Yeah, AR Hayes and we are good friends. I love AR. And also, I love watching Unfiltered Lucky and Murder Mill Mayhem and Swamp Rose and the Maven. Yeah, they're all good people. But I just kind of wonder sometimes, what, as a channel owner and a content creator, I can do better, guys. That's what I want. I want to do better. I want to see my channel succeed. I want to make you, as my subscribers, happy. But I feel as of late, I haven't made you guys very happy. Because my views are lagging, and my lives are dwindling down to nothing. I want to keep going. I want to keep putting out content. I want to make my subscribers happy. But even when somebody's live gets down to only 8 viewers, it makes me wonder if I even should do another live, having that low a viewer count. Because I don't want to drive my channel into the ground. It just makes me want to do better for you guys. And I know I have only been in this community for a few months. Let's say about 3 tops. And I've seen a lot of messed up cases. Idaho 4, one of them. Delphi case, another. But I just want to do right by you guys. I do. I want to do right by my subscribers. Because, I mean, I'll admit it, guys. I've been struggling. I've been struggling behind the scenes. I've been struggling because I feel like my channel's been attacked. My monetization wise. I mean, I went from almost 70 members, guys, and I'm down to 3. Which I know I can get those back. But, a lot of people don't know this because I really don't say it too often. I'm losing, I've noticed over the past few days, I'm losing subscribers too, and I don't know why. And YouTube says it's they do routine checks and random checks to see which is a legitimate account and which is a fake account. I mean, I want to buy that, but at the same time, I don't know. Because, I was sitting close to almost 5,000 subs, and now I'm sitting at 4,600. So I've lost a lot of subs. And I don't know if that's because I'm not doing the proper work or putting out good content that you guys want. Please let me know over here in the live chat. Thank you, Jeff. Please let me know over here in the live chat on what me as a content creator can do better at, as far as the type of content you guys want to see. Because there's some videos I've Thank you, Jeff. Because I've always tried to do my best putting out content. And it just feels like sometimes that I'm not doing it good enough. And I hate to say it, but yeah, it feels like it feels like that sometimes. Because I work my butt off on content, and then when it's time to do a live, I only get like 8 people watching. Where I've noticed on other YouTube channels, there's like almost 200 people watching. And I don't know if I feel like sometimes I'm not good enough to get that many people watching my channel. Where I know before I've had almost 100 people watching, but that's because I've planned out my lives. Like one of the biggest lives I did was I planned out a live, and it started out with victimology, and it ended with, "Hi, Lori." It ended with the Ben Mogan interview, which was the saddest interview I have ever seen. Yeah, this was when someone was here you didn't like, Jeff. Thank you, Lori. But I know it's late. Yeah, I know it's late me being on here, but I just, sometimes, my mind goes like 90 miles a minute, and like this was kind of been on my heart the last couple of days with, yeah, thank you, Jeff. But I've been, I struggle sometimes with everything, especially with unseen forces behind the scenes. But I just feel like sometimes that what, as hard as I work on my content, and then I see like I only have like 68 who watched the video, where I know I could have more than 68 watch the video. Um, yeah, and I do this not for myself, but I do this for you guys. I do this for my subscribers and my members. And when I see I only have 68 views, I've learned I've learned not to show my emotions sometimes. But when I see it only has 68 views, it kind of hits me right here because I know I did my best on that video, but then I think, well, did I not do it good enough for my subscribers? So it and it hurts when I see my one of my videos not getting the reach that I know it can get. Like I have videos on my channel that, like a video I did about Sebastian Rogers, got 13,000 views. And then I did a video a couple of days ago about the Idaho 4 case. Had 68 views, and then another one I did had like 100 views. I'm thinking, I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing wrong here? Is there unseen forces working behind the scenes to try to keep me down, kick me down? Is there like mysterious emails being sent out to subscribers saying, "Hey, don't watch this person's channel"? Because I know it's happened before, but I love my subscribers. I love you guys in chat. Jeff, Maven, Lori. I love you guys. I just wish sometimes I knew what I did wrong, to get so many short views or get drama brought to my page. Hey, Charisma, get drama brought to my page when, I try to keep my page drama free. But like, we were talking earlier about the Idaho 4 and about the thing going on with Diddy. We had a really good. Hello. We had a really good thing going on. Yeah, really good live going on. Even though there was only like 8 people watching, we had a really good conversation going. And then because my StreamYard is not upgraded, I had to cut it short because I only am allotted 2 hours 2 hours a day for live. But I love this community, and I was almost chased out of the community by somebody. I'm not going to say no names. Yeah, I got asked on a daily why I was in this community. Why did you come to this community? Why don't you go back and do what you were doing before? And okay, Charisma. Yeah, Jeff, I know it's a roller coaster. Sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down. I'm glad I have people like you. I'm glad, Jeff, I'm glad I have people like you, and I'm glad I have people like AR in my corner, and Kiki, and the Maven. I'm glad I have good people in my corner. I'm gonna smoke. You're all good people, Jeff. You're a good person. It's okay. And but yeah, Jeff, that's true. There's only so many videos out there to watch, and we all probably have short attention spans. Yeah. But I'm a good person. I really am. I have a beautiful 9-year-old daughter, and YouTube basically is my job. This is how I earn an income in between my wife's paychecks and my daughter's disability check. This is my income. This is my job, and I keep trying to figure out how I can make it better, how I can make it better for you guys. But when I see only 8 people watching in my live, I wonder, should I even do a live again? Should I just drop content? No, it's okay, Private Potato. No, Private. When I did my live, it was at 7 p.m. I did my live at 7 p.m. Well, maybe you should start chatting in my live chats, Potato. Thank you, Private Potato. Yeah, the reason why I haven't really dropped any videos in the last couple of days is because this thing right here is going out on me. I put my headphones on with this, and I get like a lot of static in the ears. So this is the first thing I'm doing when I get paid on Tuesdays. I'm getting a new mic. But very interesting question, Jeff. But yeah. But I remember, I found a video today that I did a long time ago, and I did it before I got monetized. And the video was an Idaho 4 video, but it had 18,000 views, and this was before I got monetized. Yeah, Jeff, it was a nice mic. Yeah, but it's starting to go out. Have this Coke for you, Jeff. I mean, I know it doesn't help sometimes. If I'm doing a live or if I'm doing a video, you hear a lot of background noise, and I'll mute myself real quick, and a lot of the background noise is my wife, who likes to try to inject herself by making loud noises, and when she knows I'm recording or when she knows I'm live, just to try to be a pain in my butt. Um, I don't know what kind of mic it is, Jeff. It's an Amazon special. And Maven, what do you mean passive aggressive? Like I'll go in there and I'll tell her, "Hey, honey, I'm going live. Can you or I'm shooting a video. Can you kind of keep it down?" I said I'll go in like our bedroom. And I'm like, "Hey, honey, I'm shooting. I'm doing a video." Yeah, well, private. I've been judged a lot because of background noise. Yeah, true, Maven. No, she's not really into true crime, Jeff. She's more into uh, bugging her husband when she sees him with the headset on and the mic in front of him. Oh, the one I'm looking at, Jeff, is about $69 on Amazon. Really nice condenser mic like this. It has a button on it for noise. It has a button on the mic itself for noise reduction. I love Doodlebug. I'm subscribed to her channel. Uh, well, I got to be an upgraded member for that, and I won't be an upgraded member until Tuesday. See, sometimes I'll get on live like late at night, and like if I can't sleep or if I have something bugging me or something that won't get out of my mind, I'll get on here and I'll try to talk through it, like I'm doing tonight. I mean, like I said before, Jeff. Yeah, I'm. There's days that I struggle. I mean, I'm still struggling. And the only reason why I struggle sometimes is the back alley forces of in the back streets of YouTube. I struggle that way sometimes. I'm a good person, and there's no. I mean, but besides raising a 9-year-old, I mean, I do Uber Eats and DoorDash once in a while. I mean, there's days that I second guess myself when, like, if I want to do some content and then I'll go and put on my headset and start to use this, and then I hear the in my ears, and I'm like, well, there goes my chance to do content today. I mean, there's days I'm lucky that I'll actually turn on the there's days I'm lucky I'll actually turn this on, and I won't hear the crackling in the ears. So I'll be able to do a video. But those days I'll turn that on and I'll just hear the feedback and static in the ear. Yeah, I just wish sometimes, Charisma, that I could get more eyes on my content. I mean, going from almost 3,000 views down to 68 views, I'm like, wow. I just might try that private. Yeah, it's 2:04 here, Jeff. Good night, Jeff. Hey, Doodlebug. Yeah, yeah. I'm just wondering, Doodlebug, what I can do better. because I've went from like almost 3,000 views Doodlebug down to 67 on a video. How is what possible, Charisma? Oh, that's cool. What part of Europe? Yeah. I always ask people in my videos, uh, like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, I mean, I could talk to him about it, Doodlebug. Oh, that's cool. Well, AR is my buddy, Doodlebug, and I know he's a busy person. And I don't like bugging him too much. Yeah, I know. I was always told there's enough subscribers for everybody. Yeah, I know. But so, Maven, what did you think of our conversation on live tonight? the after the after party conversation. Yeah, Doodlebug, I know. Yeah, yeah, I know. On the days that my stinking mic don't work, I know on the days that my stinking mic don't work, uh, I sit in my, you can see over my right shoulder. I sit in my blue chair over there, and I play Assassin's Creed 3, or I play NBA 2K20 or WWE 2K24, because I know that I'm not going to get this thing to work. That's why I've been, that's why I've been just using my handy dandy webcam with built-in mic. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Maven. You're right. This Coke's for you. Thank you, Charisma. Yeah, that's not a berry gut you guys hear growling in the background. That's my wife snoring. Yeah. We'll be together 10 years this coming January. So we've been married a decade. Where has my life gone? But yeah. One more week, my daughter will be out of school for 3 months. Yay me. No, I'm just kidding. I love my 9-year-old to death. But she is a daddy's girl. Like, like every 5 minutes, daddy, 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 daddy. Like every 5 minutes. Like, I mean, it was so sweet earlier when I was on live with Jeff, Maven, and Kiki. She came up, she came up behind me, and I kept having to mute because she's like, "Daddy, Daddy." I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Love you, Daddy." I'm like, "Love you too, Daddy." What? She goes, "Love you." I'm like, "Love you too, Daddy." I'm like, "Baby, Daddy's live." She goes, "I know." Yeah, I had to look at her. I'm like, "Baby, Daddy's live," and and she's like, "I know. Mommy said to pester you." So I looked at her. I'm like, "Do Daddy a favor." "Yeah, Daddy." I'm like, "Go pester Mommy." Apparently, something just came out. Like, have you watched it with me?
In corroboration for his alibi on the night of November 13th, 2022. It follows. Mr. Koberger moved to Pullman, Washington in June of 22. As an avid runner and hiker, he explored many areas of the Palouse. Of note, he explored Wawahi Park in July of 22, and this became a favorite location. After the school year began, Mr. Koberger was busy with class and work at WSU, and his running
Why is
phone
there no
shows him in the
sound?
countryside late at night
Hold on a
and
minute.
or in the early morning on several occasions. The phone data
Yeah, I know
includes
why.
numerous photographs taken on several
There.
or see the moon and stars. He drove throughout the area south of Pullman, Washington, of Moscow, Idaho, including Wawahi Park. Mr. Koberger intends to offer testimony of Cy Ray, cell tower, cell phone, and other radio frequency expert to show that Koberger's mobile device was south of Pullman, Washington, and west of Moscow, Idaho on November 13th, 22. That Brian Koberger's mobile device did not travel east on the Moscow Pullman Highway in the early morning hours of November 13, and thus could not be the vehicle captured on video along the Moscow Pullman Highway near Floyd's cannabis shop. Additional information as to
This is why I stopped shopping on Amazon, and you should too. Don't spend another
Mr. Koberger's whereabouts as the early morning hours progressed, including additional analysis by Mr. Ray, will be provided once the state provides discovery requested and now subject to an upcoming motion to compel. If not disclosed, Mr. Ray's testimony will also reveal that critical exculpatory evidence further corroborating Mr. Koberger's alibi was either not preserved or has been withheld. If you'll recall, the probable cause affidavit places Koberger's cell phone at his residence at 2:42 a.m. and at 2:47 a.m. driving through Pullman, Washington. It's at this point that the phone stops reporting to the network. The cell phone reportedly comes back online at 4:48 and pings at Blaine, Idaho, near US Highway 95. A couple minutes later near Genesee, then Uniontown, and then finally arriving back at Pullman between 5:25 and 5:27 a.m. As such, we have a lack of information as to the whereabouts of the Koberger cell phone from 2:47 to 4:48 a.m. We'll call these the dark hours. Just to contextualize this time frame from what's going on at campus, Koberger's phone stops reporting at 2:47. Kaylee and Maddie make their last call to Jack at 2:52, and 1 minute later, the body cam footage for the underage drinking encounter clicks on. Despite all this activity within a couple hundred feet of the murder scene, they narrow in on Kohberger's vehicle, which apparently enters the neighborhood at 3:30. However, the closest his cell phone places him to the crime scene is about 10 miles away near Blaine, Idaho at 4:48 when his phone turns back on. The PCA specifically cites the route of travel in the early morning hours, and the lack of the phone reporting to AT&T during the dark hours is consistent with Kohberger attempting to conceal his location during the quadruple homicide. I have quite a few problems with this statement. Essentially, they're using a lack of evidence as evidence of murder, and they make a major logical leap here that just because there was no pinging of his phone, that means that Kohberger is attempting to conceal his location, despite the fact that his cell records never show him traveling to Moscow on that night, and they twisted that to make it inculpatory. There is no evidence that Kohberger put his phone in airplane mode or that he turned it off. That is simply the state's theory that they're projecting onto the defendant based on the lack of reporting from the cell phone. The Idaho Statesman did a really great piece back in February of 23, much closer to the time when the affidavit was released. They spoke with a telecommunications expert named Ben Levitan about the cell phone towers in the area and what these pings could suggest about the murders. Quote, Levitan said that it's impossible to know for sure that Kohberger turned off his phone unless someone called him during the 2-hour period, and the call record showed that his phone went straight to voicemail. He added that if someone's phone isn't showing up on the network, all it means is that they didn't receive any calls or texts or use any apps during that time period. Levitan.
Did you guys hear that? Just because his cell phone didn't register on any cell towers doesn't mean his phone was shut off. Yeah, not using that one tower, Heather.
Said that cell phone records are completely reliable, but that authorities tend to overplay them. He added that cell phone records could help exclude suspects by showing they weren't within a tower's coverage area. But Levitan said when someone does show up in the coverage area of a cell tower, it doesn't mean they were at the scene of the crime. Cell phone records.
Right there. It doesn't mean they were at the scene of the crime if they show up in the cell coverage area.
As evidence are very reliable and useful, but it's not DNA. Levitan said in a follow-up email, it doesn't have the precision that would allow you to pinpoint a person's phone. The best the state can say is that this phone was in a 27 square mile area that includes the crime scene 12 times, referring to the supposed stalking leading up to the incident. The telecommunications expert even provided a map of the registered cell towers in the area, and there appears to only be 2. This map shows that if Kohberger was driving south of Pullman and west of Moscow, he very well could have been picked up by the cell tower that also services the King Road home. This information, to me, makes that conclusion that a lack of cell phone pings equals concealment of a crime even more ridiculous. Essentially, a lack of reporting could simply be that he never used an app and never received a phone call or text message during that period. Maybe he was at Milwaukee Park, where some reviews suggest that there isn't good cell service. I see a lot of mainstream media, talking heads, as well as YouTube commentators scoffing at Kohberger's alibi, showing weather reports that night that, oh, it was cloudy, you couldn't have possibly seen the moon and stars. But let me remind you, Stargazing is not his alibi. Rather, his alibi is that he was out driving in the early morning hours of November 13th, as he often did to hike and run and or see the moon and stars. The alibi is not that he was hiking, running, or seeing the moon and stars. That is something that he claims he liked to do, and he was out driving that night. The defendant is prepared to offer proof that this is not abnormal behavior from him in the form of expert testimony as to his cell records, and apparently there are some pictures from his phone that show this activity. Brian also had a Strava account, which is an app that runners, hikers, and bikers use to log their location and routes of travel. This entry shows that on August 4th of 22 at 12:45 a.m. after midnight, Brian went for a run in Pullman, partially corroborating his claim that yes, he did like to go out and run at night in the dark. There's also an incident that happened at Bryan Kohberger's apartment that very night that I spoke about in a recent video. I'll insert a clip right here. On the night of the murders, there was a hit and run on the WSU's campus right next to Bryan Kohberger's apartment. The crash occurred at the Grove Apartments, which is just next to the Steptoe Apartments where Brian lived. At 11:30 p.m. on Saturday night, 19-year-old WSU student Carmen E. Fernandez hit two pedestrians, a male and a female, as well as a fire hydrant after driving under the influence of alcohol. She fled the scene thereafter. The author of While Idaho Slept described this as a much more involved scene than I had previously thought. It definitely changes my perspective of what was going on by the apartments on the very night. In quote, at approximately 11:40 p.m., a Delta sorority member with a high blood alcohol level with her sister's friend in the car lost control and drove into a fire hydrant, a street light, and two pedestrians, both of them badly injured. The girl then drove.
See, that's what I was saying earlier. How could he even leave his apartment when the police and the rescue had that entire area locked down until almost 5:30 in the morning? And that right there was the same night as the unalivings and them saying that Kohberger did it. Well, how could he even leave his apartment when they had everything locked? When they had everything locked down and they were doing patrols in the area until 5:30 in the morning. Hello, familiar heart. That's what makes me wonder exactly how they came across Brian when that entire area was on lockdown. I don't even think Brian could have left and drove anywhere with them doing patrols. Yes, Heather, yes. I could probably get the buddy cam. Well, I know that I think it was at like 2:45 or something like that, 1:30. They actually showed a scene, and you could see Brian's car in the shot that the news did. Thank you, Doodle. But yeah, just like it says right here, approximately 11:40 p.m., a 19-year-old Kappa Delta sorority member with a high blood alcohol level with her sister and her sister's friend in her car, lost control, and drove into a fire hydrant and street light and two pedestrians. Hi, Craven Crimes. Both of them badly injured. The girl then drove away from the bloody scene.
Drove away from the bloody scene. Tenants at the complex where the accident occurred could hear the screams. The victims, reportedly students at WSU, lay scattered like broken tree limbs. It was horrifying, a 26-year-old witness told reporters. The Washington State University police arrived soon after, along with deputies from the Whitman County Sheriff's Office. The hydrant collision had caused a water line to rupture, and that it had to be dealt with as well. The two victims were taken to Pullman Regional Hospital in serious condition. Police began an all-hands-on-deck manhunt for the driver. According to Bryan Kohberger's cell phone records, he was in his apartment when the crash occurred, the flashing police lights soon lassoing across the exterior walls of nearby buildings. There had been a large police presence while he was at home. The crime scene had to be managed and streets cordoned off, and several squad cars patrolled the area looking for the perpetrator of the hit and run. Paramedics and the fire department had also arrived. This was a big scene. The scene was active until shortly after 5:30 a.m. Did you hear that? This was an active crime scene that was still being cleaned up when Kohberger returned, allegedly. The police were there the whole time, said Jose Mercado, a student who could see both Kohberger's building and the accident scene from his apartment. Whatever Kohberger had done, he left and returned within eyeshot of law enforcement. I believe that Ann Taylor is being purposefully and strategically vague to preserve the defendant's alibi from being meddled with by the state, as they tried to do with his DNA genealogy expert by sending FBI agents to her house following her testimony in open court. The defense doesn't care if corrupt agents like JLR and Gray Hughes think Kohberger's alibi is sufficient or not. They are wisely keeping their cards close to their chest. The prosecution has been withholding evidence for 1.5 years now. They have yet to disclose to counsel how the defendant was even identified by law enforcement in the first place. So-called courtroom courtesy is way out the window by now. Ann Taylor knows that even though Thompson has the judge in his back pocket, he's getting desperate as the defense team picks apart their case with the precision that the investigation utterly lacked. I'll remind you, though, it's Ann Taylor and her team's job to exonerate their client, not necessarily to solve this case or present the truth as to what happened to Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan that night. I suspect that she will, though, leaving no doubt that this event involves many more suspects and likely a tangled network of organized crime. As for the exoneration of Kohberger, I personally believe that this WSU hit-and-run accident is the likely X factor in the defense's case for two main reasons. One, it makes the state's lone killer theory that much more unbelievable.
Hey,
The
Trash
state is
Panda.
asking us to believe, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Bryan Kohberger left his apartment at 2:42 a.m. on a Saturday night in November, drove to King Road to kill these 4 people he has no connection to and no identifiable motivation to commit such an extreme act, that he had the state of mind to turn his phone off during the act, but decided to turn it back on when he was on his way home, that he took no blood or DNA of the victims with him, but carelessly left behind his knife sheath with a conveniently placed single source of touch DNA, that he was even seen in the home by a witness that chose not to do anything for 8 hours while her roommates bled out in their bedrooms. If you're willing to buy this narrative, you must also reason with the fact that this so-called killer chose to embark on this homicidal mission while an active police investigation was occurring right outside his apartment. You must accept that Bryan was willing to risk being spotted by police when leaving and returning from committing this motiveless massacre. The second reason I believe this accident is a key factor in the defense's case is that it makes the defendant's alibi logical and, frankly, believable. Despite the harsh scrutiny from controlled media, Taylor and her team don't have to prove this alibi beyond a reasonable doubt. That's the prosecution's standard, remember? Anyways, I'll admit that when I first heard that Kohberger was using an alibi defense and that he was conveniently driving around during the early morning hours of the 13th, I was pretty skeptical. However, knowledge of this hit and run reframes the night in question. Hard pressed to find details about the incident itself, I've searched WSU Police, Pullman PD, and Whitman County for a copy of the police report, activity log, or booking information to give some sort of narrowed down time frame of the apprehension and arrest of Carmen Fernandez, but no luck.
6-3, got 2 patients on the ground. Ground. Yeah, medic coming.
Pullman 481. We've got a damaged fire hydrant. We're going to need somebody to come out from water to try to seal it off.
So we had a caller call in and report that a vehicle struck 2 pedestrians, almost hit a third, struck a fire hydrant, and then left the scene. We had officers and obviously the ambulance respond to the scene, discovered 2 people that had been struck by what we determined later to be a large dark colored SUV. Those people were both transported to the hospital. I believe they should recover from their injuries. The person jumped out of the way or they would have been struck as well. The fire hydrant, we had to have the city come shut it off. It was actually about to erode an entire hill based on the quantity of water coming out of it. There was also like a partial electrical box that had been struck.
406.
406.
I located the vehicle on California Street near Monroe, Lake Washington. It's unoccupied. I've got substantial damage, particularly front right, missing grille, as well as yellow paint transfer from the hydrant.
Officers later found the vehicle involved at a different location, and we ended up arresting somebody that we believe conducted the hit and run, and we conducted a DUI investigation on that individual as well.
To back up my statement about how this incident strengthens the defendant's alibi, I've come up with 2 different scenarios which I believe are both plausible and completely supported by the available evidence. The first theory I've formulated about Brian's activity and whereabouts during the dark hours, I will call the manhunt theory. It goes like this. And I'll reiterate, this was a very serious incident. We have bloodied victims with broken limbs sent to the hospital, various police departments and emergency personnel on scene, investigating and tending to that burst water line. There's no doubt that if Kohberger was indeed home, he certainly had knowledge of this incident, period. The scene was described as chaotic. There were eyewitnesses to that hit and run able to give a vehicle description. Again, I can't find an exact time for arrest, but Carmen Fernandez was arrested hours later when her vehicle was located on Greek Row. Let's say Kohberger, an insomniac who's working on his PhD in criminology and has a somewhat familiar relationship with Pullman PD as he had interviewed at the department, comes outside to offer assistance to the officers. Yeah, if you're available, we could use some help locating the suspect vehicle. We've got officers canvassing campus and pulling security footage, but
Morning,
it's
Officer
also
Brandon.
possible the
Hi,
suspect
Nina.
escaped to the greater Pullman Moscow area. Would you mind driving some of these back roads to see if you can find evidence of the vehicle? Here, take my number and give us a call if you notice anything unusual. Brian hops in his car alone and, as stated in his alibi, begins driving around the area south of Pullman and west of Moscow. You may ask, but why would he turn his phone off? But if you'll recall from expert Ben Levitan, a lack of reporting to a network does not necessarily prove that his phone was off. It could mean that he simply wasn't using any apps or...
Right there. Just because his phone wasn't connecting to the cell towers doesn't mean his phone was off. Right there is what she just said. It doesn't mean his phone was off.
receiving any texts or calls during that period. So he throws his phone on the front seat, turns on the radio, No need for a GPS as he's pretty familiar with these back roads and begins cruising the area. Eyes peeled for a broken down or severely damaged vehicle as described by the witnesses. But at 4:48 a.m., Koberger's phone pings near Blaine as he hypothetically could have received a call from the officers on scene. Hey man, we located the vehicle and
How do you keep something secret? You hide it in plain sight.
July 8, 1947.
located the vehicle and arrested the suspect. Appreciate your help, but you can come back to WSU now. Koberger makes his way back to his apartment, arriving at 5:27 a.m., the exact same time as the scene was wrapping up. Let me know what you think of this hypothetical
Hey,
scenario
Adam.
in the comments below. The other scenario I've come up with stemming from this accident is called the date night theory. This scenario is predicated on the theory that Koberger was seeing a girl from University of Idaho. We know he used Tinder in the past and was apparently in the area of campus 12 times prior, according to the state's affidavit. This can be explained by a relationship with somebody on Idaho's campus. Let's say he was spending the night in his apartment with a girl on November 13th. This accident happens pretty late, around 11:40. Sirens, lights, chaos prevents the couple from sleeping. They decide to go for a drive to Wawahi Park, a favorite location, and where there is, quote, absolutely no cell service. The two spend a couple romantic hours relaxing at the park, maybe smoking a little, looking at the stars before returning to the apartment to catch some sleep. They wake up the next morning around 9 a.m., and Koberger courteously drives her back to Idaho's campus and then runs some normal Sunday grocery errands.
Yeah, I do,
ask you,
Heather.
is this scenario more plausible than inexplicably returning to the scene of the quad homicide he supposedly committed 5 hours earlier? Some of you may consider these theories I've presented far out there, but I submit to you that it's the prosecution's theory that is outlandish, full of oddities, and most importantly, not proven by the flimsy evidence presented thus far.
Yep.
In my opinion, this is why they are demanding the defense hand over more specific details on his alibi. Hence why I call this incident the X factor that the defense is keeping off the record. The alibi is that he was driving around, whether that is to help locate a suspect vehicle at large or simply getting away from the chaos unfolding in front of his building. This accident gives the defendant reasons to leave his apartment during the dark hours, thus substantiating his alibi.
Mr. Thompson?
Your Honor, it's completely unfair and unacceptable for us to get a list of witnesses with no idea what they're going to testify
Hey,
about.
do better.
The names witnesses don't mean much of anything. And unfortunately, we're having a pattern in this case of last-minute disclosures of witnesses and PowerPoints and all sorts of things that frustrate Your Honor's ability to assess what's going on because it's brand new to you, just like it's brand new to us.
The state is utterly desperate to find out what the defense knows, what witnesses they're going to call, and what evidence they're going to show. My question is to the master gaslighter, Bill Thompson, is what are you so worried about? If you have the defendant dead to rights to the point where you've incarcerated him for 1.5 years, anything he's able to produce should be easily overcome by the evidence uncovered in their so-called investigation. The prosecution continues to show their utter narcissism and insecurity in the case they've built. This should scare every American. If they can lock up Koberger with this flimsy evidence and ridiculous fairy tale theory, they can do it to you too. So this should really scare all Americans. The justice system is a joke.
I totally agree with her, guys. The justice system is a joke when it comes to this case. Yeah. What is the state so worried about? And I want to pose a question to chat, which I posed earlier in the live stream. Where I had, where it was myself, Swamp Rose, the Maven, and Jeff. Is the IGG even going to make it into court? Or is the IGG going to be thrown out before it even goes to court? Or before it even goes to trial? And is there going to be a trial? Because we've all heard what the judge said in that last court hearing, and I quote, "I don't even know if this case is going to make it to trial." Yeah, Heather, I understand that. I mean, if you got a solid case, you got a solid case, period. But does the judge believe that? Because if the judge actually believed that, then why would the judge say, "I don't even know if this case is going to make it to trial"? Hey, Love Handle. Is the judge is he thinking this is going to go to a plea bargain, or Heather, was he being sarcastic, or does he know something? Because every time I see Judge John Judge, he doesn't look very sure of himself when it comes to this case. What do some of the new people in chat think about this? Do better. How do you feel about this? Well, Maven, they didn't even have a pretrial hearing. They didn't even have a preliminary hearing. Yeah, that is a good point, Heather Four. I think he has to. He said, if we ever make it to trial, if we ever, because it's taking so long and they're fighting about everything. Heather Four, you got a very good point there. A very good point, Heather Four. Private Potato, I'm thinking the same thing. I think there'll be a trial, but it just goes back to without the IGG, there is no motive. If there's no motive, you know what I'm saying, Private Potato? If there's no motive, then there should be no arrest warrant. If there's no arrest warrant, then there's no probable cause affidavit. And if there's no probable cause affidavit, then they're going to have to either redo everything all over again, Private Potato. I was actually reading something on X earlier yesterday, and there's some people saying that the trial won't start for another 2 years because he's been sitting in jail for 17 months, and they are having trouble even setting up a trial date for next year. So there's some people saying that it may not go to trial until 2027. Oh, Heather, for what they used for the probable cause was the DNA on the button snap of the knife sheath. That's what they used for probable cause. And then, of course, with Dylan's little things she was doing. You're talking about for all the search warrants? That's a very good question. That's what makes me wonder, Heather, for if somebody didn't give the law enforcement Brian's name. That's what makes me wonder. If someone didn't give law enforcement Brian's name. And that does make me wonder, Heather, about the what gave them the probable cause to get all the warrants for his cell phone. Cell phone info, you need pretty good probable cause, and they didn't. But you see, oh yes, do better. I understand. In your own opinion. But see, where I have trouble with do better is there was a molecule of touch DNA on the button snap. Wouldn't they have all used that up to seeing if he was in CODIS? Because they did test the touch DNA to find out if the perpetrator was in CODIS. And could they have used, because they did swab his cheek on the inside after he was arrested for DNA. So could they use the cheek swab and send it to Occam or the genetics company and get his match that way as well after they took his father's trash? because Brian was walking around with rubber gloves on and putting his trash in individual little baggies. It makes me wonder why he was doing all that. Heather Ford, do we actually know if they talked to him? Well, from what I know, is two WSU security guards are the ones that found the Elantra. I wouldn't believe Shirley for anything. Yeah, I would not believe Shirley for anything. But yeah, Adam, you're right. He was OCD. Yes, I know. He went in for an interview at Pullman Police Department. And he didn't get the job there, so he went to the Moscow Police Department, and he didn't get the job there either. Oh, wow. I'll have to look for that, Heather Ford. And I just found out that Chris Cuomo's interview of BK's Pennsylvania attorney that Kopacka was a WSU security officer. Oh, I believe you, Heather. I believe you. Yeah, I've heard that too, Heather. Oh, yeah. Kind of weird how Ashton Couch can go on Good Morning America 17 months after the unalivings, but Dylan and Bethany are nowhere to be found. I mean, you could be right, Doodlebug. You could be right. Hey, Aquarian One. Oh, yeah. Very good question, Doodlebug. If they have the right guy, why are those two girls so afraid to go back? Well, Doodlebug, what if they're afraid to go back because there's a obstruction of justice charges waiting for them because they didn't call 911 until 8 hours? Oh, Dylan's was back partying. She's the star witness that we know of. Yeah, Doodlebug, that's what I heard. Yeah, I heard that there was possible obstruction of justice charges uh, because because of the 8 hour delay. Yep. Welcome to the channel, Aquarian One. Ah, good. They may be afraid of the reception from the locals. A lot of people are against them. They're in Moscow. Oh, Maven, neither do I. I don't believe her either. Thank you, Doodlebug. Yeah, you got a good point there, Heather. But see, from what I heard, is that the FBI or the FBI agent that did the cast report. I know. Was it? I know Brett Payne did a rough draft of the cast report, Heather Fitzgerald, but I know the actual FBI agent was, didn't want to turn over the actual cast report. Wow. I did this so much, my personal social medias were giving me ads about becoming a private investigator. Wow, Heather. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering about that, Nina. Okay, Nina. Why would she sell a cup for $130? That don't make no sense. And sold it to people. Wow. Like she wrote a book. Yeah, I know that's odd, Adam. Okay, Heather 4. I know, Heather, it'll never make sense. Yep. Oh yeah, Boz, I know. Are you asking me that, Doodlebug? Yeah, I have an email. Yeah, that's my wife. I'm sorry, Outlaw Nation. Who you scared of Steve G will go after, Heather? 4. Oh yeah, Nina, I know. It's going to be ugly no matter which way the verdict comes. Yeah, oh, I know, Outlaw Nation. What about the real perps? What's your idea, Heather? Sold under the brand Purple Santa. Flicker and Rosie. You really think she's gonna be at Crime Con, Nina? I think Stacy Chapin going to Crime Con is just another way for her to make money. That's what I think is the only reason why she's going to Crime Con is because she's getting paid to be there. That's a good question, Outlaw Nation. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Heather, for that is kind of strange. How did first scholarship go to her son? That's so strange. So Heather, do you think she's selling those cups at Crime Con? That's what makes me wonder, is if she's selling those $130 cups at Crime Con. Oh, that's cool. Blue flowers are Mason. Mason specific flowers. How much was one of Ethan's smile tulips, Heather, for? Oh, wow. Well, guys, this live is almost at 2 hours. I'm starting to get a little tired over here. I'm doing a live Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be myself, the Maven, Swamp Rose, and possibly Jeff H. And for all the newcomers in chat, I'm going to try to get AR there. I'm gonna try my hardest to get AR there. And for all the new people in chat, make sure you hit that like button, and you also make sure you also hit the subscribe button, and click. Click that bell notification, and if you want to get all my if you want to get alerts whenever I go live or whenever I drop content, make sure you click all instead of personalized. It's a long drawn out thing, Outlaw Nation. I don't want to get into it. I'll just say this: I misspoke in a live, and I'll just leave it at that. Outlaw Nation, we all make mistakes. Yeah, we all make mistakes, Outlaw Nation, and when you're part of a almost when you're part of almost a 3-hour live, and you're going over some really emotional stuff, your emotions tend to get away from you. Okay, Heather 4, I understand. Outlaw Nation, where did you hear about it from? Hey, I heard Priest Lake is like a really pretty area, boss. Yeah, Outlaw Nation, just ignore what you hear in the streets, okay? And I'm a good person. Everyone here in chat will tell you that I am a good person. Thank you so much for coming in, Doodlebug. And yeah, I am sub to your channel, Doodlebug. All right, you guys have a good night, and I'll be going live Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central. I'm gonna do my best to get AR, but it's gonna be myself, the Maven, Swamp Rose, and possibly Jeff H. And we had a good conversation going tonight. We just had to cut it short, so it's going to be a part 2. Yeah, make sure you guys make sure you hit when you hit that bell notification, click all so you can get notified whenever I go live or whenever I drop content. Have a good night, guys. Peace.